I don't know if you believe in these things, but have you ever thought of going with a warlock or a witch for help?
I told you that we needed to keep the witchcraft going. Now you have a debt that you have to pay, that you are going to pay.
Rod, do you think there's anything that could justify the fact to do witchcraft to another person?
As violence, I don't think witchcraft is justified by any reason.
You know, I've been thinking about it lately. Sometimes I feel like people could justify it by the fact of not really believing in it, or thinking that nothing will happen. And a lot of times, they think that any emotion can justify the means to an end. The story of Patricia made me think about this. Patricia starts this story saying that she don't want people to judge her, that she wants for people to try to understand her. In a certain way, she tells this story as she was apologizing to reality for what she did. To understand her, she starts sharing her childhood with us. She says that while she was on elementary school, kids bullied her all the time. At first, they made fun about her looks, but then they started making fun of the way she talked, how she dressed, how she acted, even the fact that she was an introvert. She felt as if the whole school had made a pact to only bully her. This affected her terribly. And then she says that the worst day of the year was always the 14th of February, because she could see how all her classmates will get flowers, chocolates, stuffed animals, all kind of presents, and she wouldn't even have a friend to talk with. She grew up desiring to have a relationship, someone that would care for her, someone that would listen to her, someone that she could share with. But even though she had endured and suffered, no one would come close to her. When she grew up, she started working on a company that made car parts. In there, she made her first friend. Her name was Yolanda. Yolanda was the first person to ever care about Patricia. Patricia felt very lucky. She had someone that tried to understand her pain and that she would talk with and spend time with her. Until one day, this new guy started working on the company. Patricia says that he was the most handsome guy she had ever seen. It was love at first sight. She noticed how all the women in the factory was attracted to him, but Patricia couldn't even talk while she was in the same room with him. Every time they crossed paths, Patricia can only think of things that she would like to do with him, the desire she had. Yolanda noticed this and told Patricia,
I don't know if you believe in these things, but have you ever thought of going with a warlock or a witch for help?
"With a warlock or a witch?"
Yes, in fact, I have the phone on a very good one. Why don't you go with them? What is there for you to lose?
Patricia agreed and went to see this warlock. When she met him, she felt as he could really help her. She told her everything, how she felt, how this guy made her feel, how she was deeply in love with him, and that she couldn't do nothing for him to notice her. He told her not to worry and asked for a couple of things for her to bring for the next appointment. But she had to make sure that she will bring everything specifically as he had asked for. She says that he asked for a piece of his hair, for two pictures, one of him and one of hers, some herbs, and a black egg, among other things that Patricia doesn't want to share with us. She went buy everything at Sonora's market. And then, when she went back to the warlock, she felt as if everything he was doing was more of a performance than an act of magic. But when she went back to work, as if it was fate, which was not, it was magic, this guy came close to Patricia. He was even nervous to talk with her. She could notice how nervous he was while asking for her name, for her phone number, trying to ask her out on a date. And that was the beginning of their relationship. She felt the happiest woman in earth. She was finally having the relationship she had ever wanted. This guy that she liked, that would pay attention to her, go out with her. He was the dream guy to her. A couple of months went by, and Patricia got a call from the warlock. He asked her,
Hey, how are things going? Is everything okay?
She told him, "Everything is wonderful. We're so happy. We're together. Everything went as you told me."
That's wonderful. But now, it's time to keep the witchcraft going.
Going?
Yeah, it's time to sacrifice another animal. That, that you didn't like doing, we have to do it again, and again, and again.
But we're together. I don't want to do that again. And she hung up. On that ritual they did, they opened a portal where she sacrificed a living animal to an entity for them to be together. She thought doing that was the cruelest thing that a human being could ever do. And now they were together. She didn't need to do it again. But it didn't wait long before she started noticing weird things at home. At first, some voices here and there. She thought it was nothing, so she ignored it. Then, at the middle of the night, she would wake up with the feeling that she was being observed by more than one, but she convinced herself that nothing was happening, that it was all on her mind. As she ignored this, things got worse. The voices became louder and louder. Every time she was alone at home, she could hear them. Then, on the room next to her, she could hear laughter of these things. And at night, she couldn't sleep no more because she felt how she was being watched all the time while she was trying to sleep. But this didn't worry her. The worst was the thing that she wanted the most was ending. Her relationship was coming to an end. One day that they were on a date sitting one in front of the other, he was looking down trying to ignore her. She was trying to act cute, to be funny. And suddenly, he looked at her and told her,
What am I doing with you? What did I saw on you? I don't like this.
with that, the relationship was over. She called the warlock. He was very mad at her. He told her,
I told you that we needed to keep the witchcraft going. Now you have a debt that you have to pay, that you are going to pay.
That night Patricia went with the warlock. They did a lot of rituals. They didn't sacrifice one animal, but many. After everything was done, the warlock told her,
Now you have to live with this.
"But we're not together anymore. Why do they have to stay with me?" "Because they did their parts of the job, and you didn't pay them back. Now this is your punishment." Patricia now knows that there is a price that she could pay for her to be happy. And she did it once. What would stop her to do it again? And I think this because at the end of the story, she says that she's willing to do anything as long as it makes her happy. What do you think about this witchcraft, Rod?
Forcing someone to be with you, either with magic, violence, or any other way, should be considered a crime. But I think what's worse in these cases it what happens to the person that commits the crime. What do you think happened to Patricia after she used this kind of magic?
In magic, there's always a price you have to pay. And when you do evil to get anything, that evil that you do is always going to come back at you. Because the price that you're going to pay is not only the money that you have to give away, it's not only the animals that you are willing to use, it's that parts of your life that you are sacrificing to get something. And you don't know to who you are sacrificing that part. And you don't know what they're gonna do with you once you don't have this body that can maybe protect you for a lifetime.